Good evening, and welcome here to the Mingles of Evil Life. And have to admit that tonight's topic it's incredible. I've been in a research and receiving so much information, right, about consciousness and our soul and all this, and that's why today's topic is what? My soul and consciousness connected to my blood? What are you talking about, Vanessa, right? Well, yes. And I'm going to prove it, and I'm going to explain to you tonight. Because if we truly understood the divine material, which we are all made of, as I'm always speaking here about energy, we will know about the entanglement there is between our soul, our consciousness, and our blood. As always, I highlight here that energy is ruled by universal laws. And the laws that apply immediately to prove this that I'm speaking today about, right, are the law of correspondence, as above, so below, and the law of vibration, that states that energy is in constant expansive movement or vibration that behaves in patterns, circular patterns, okay, cycles, and in a spiral way. So for science purpose, these patterns are in the way of waves, okay? For physics specifically. So applied to us, how will these laws, if we truly want to see that what happens above happens below, right, and that happens in patterns, how will that affect us? These laws specify that everything that happens in the heavens and above that, cosmos, right, will repeat in spiral patterns again here on earth. So we can say that heavens equals, in the law, specifically the first law, equals as above, right? And that earth is below. As above, so below. So let's see, according to science, what happened, because I'm always saying, if what happens above happens below, that means that if we look at history, if we go back, what has happened, right? We will know what is going to happen in the future. But we need to study history because this is an immutable way energy will behave. So what happened in the creation, for example, was the Big Bang, as you know, as science stipulates, right? And particles of all kinds were dispersed all throughout the universe. Photons, quarks, protons, neutrons, and electrons, etc., right? These particles then joined to form the atom, which is the building block of the universe. That obviously this atom has a positive charge and a negative charge and a neutral charge also to it. And in the universe, this material of the Big Bang manifests in a plasma state. And a plasma is a gas that has a charge to it, positive and negative, okay? Most gases are uncharged. So plasma has a specific quality to it because it is a gas that has a charge to it. Okay, so let's see what the Bible says about the creation. Okay, that's what science says. Now the Bible says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Again, above and below. So we can say that above is the heavens and below is the earth. So, and above the heavens is composed of air, basically, right? And the air is made out of nitrogen, oxygen, and trace elements that like carbon dioxide, neon, and hydrogen. And below the earth, the soil, the ground, is made out of phosphorus, potassium, and nitrogen, and trace elements like calcium, magnesium, and sulfur. Okay? So we can say that that first verse of the Bible specifies about these elements that were created first. And the Spirit of God, then the Bible says, the Spirit of God moved over the face of the waters. So, I'm always talking here and explaining to you that spirit is the same thing as energy. So if we substitute that word, it says that the Spirit of God, the energy of God, energy moved over the face of the waters. And in science, we can translate this as heat, because in the scientific manner, we know, right, by what scientists tell us, that before the universe was created, some billion of years behind, 13.7 billion years behind ago, million years, what happened was that there was nothing, right? It was an abyss, and it was very dense, and it had a lot of heat in it, okay? So the energy was in the way of heat, So, and we can see from this second verse of the Bible that it doesn't say that God created the waters. It says that the water was already there, okay? So energy moved over the water. And what happens when energy touches water? Okay? When we electrify water, literally, you know, that something bad is going to happen, right? It's not good. So, the third verse of the Bible says, and God said, let there be light, and there was light. So, an ignition, right? Which is the same thing that the scientists call the Big Bang, okay? Let there be light, and there was light. And light was created, this matter, this explosion, created photons and particles, like I said, of many kinds. So everything there is and exists in this universe is a spark of light, has light in it, because the state it is in a plasma state, which has energy to it. It's charged, a gas, okay? And light emits heat. Okay, so let's see now. It took God, and this is a little note on the side, it took God 6 days, according to the Bible, for the creation. Because on the seventh day, He blessed the heaven, He blessed everything, okay? So, now when we apply this above accounts, whether the creation in the scientific aspect or the creation in the biblical aspects, right, of the heavens, what happened above, to our biology, right? To the human biology, to see how these things, how these events can have repeated in our lives again. It is totally, I'm going to tell you, fascinating, because we can clearly see that atoms are to the universe what cells are to the human body, or blood is to the human body, okay? But atoms are to the cell what atoms are to the universe what cells are to the human body. But did you know, because I didn't, I certainly didn't, that it takes the same time it took God in the Bible, in the Bible's creation, okay, 6 days for a blastocyst, which is the embryonic phase of a fertilized egg, where it divides into a ball of cells to later form the embryo. The embryo in pregnancy, okay, when we were born. That is what a blastocyst is. So a blastocyst looks exactly like a nucleus of an atom, where neutrons and protons are stuck together, okay? So right there, we see a clear similarity, right? It is the same thing, basically. It is a ball of a lot of little balls stuck together. And this is what a blastocyst is. So we see that repeating again, that form, that same thing repeating, that pattern again, repeating. Perhaps, I say, the creation in the Bible has more to do with the pregnancy side, with the pregnancy and its development, right? But anyhow, the thing that I want to highlight here and stress about is how the same processes and behaviors, right, and patterns repeat themselves over and over again. Observe the shapes, the pattern shapes, and the behaviors and the ecosystems around the atom and the cells. Okay? Also, it is it calls my attention strongly that it is called the Big Bang. And a blastocyst in biology, named blastocyst, is the blast. It's an explosion of cells. When the Big Bang was an explosion of particles, right? So, again, our solar system also, our solar system is composed of 8 planets that orbit around the source of energy, the heat source, our Father, the Sun, okay? And electromagnetic fields hold them together. Plasma, as I said, is the universal state of matter. It is a charged gas. And all this plasma, all these electromagnetic fields keep every planet orbiting in their own path without taking another one's path, right? And colliding with one another. So just like the atom also that has its electrons orbiting, right, around the nucleus. Because of the electromagnetic charge there is between the positive charge in the center and the negative charge of the electron. So these fields are created within the atom. That's why the atom keeps together its electrons and its protons and its neutrons, okay? So in our biology also, the amniotic fluid, which develops at 12 weeks of pregnancy, as well as blood plasma, is mainly made out of water that has also nutrients in it, hormones, and infection-fighting antibiotics, proteins, electrolytes, immunoglobulins, vitamins, glucose, and lactate for the fetus, okay? So, the amniotic fluid is composed mainly of the same protein, albumin, as our blood plasma, and others like transferrin and ferritin in smaller proportions, okay? And actually, the amniotic fluid is generated from the maternal plasma and passes through the fetal membranes by osmotic and hydrostatic forces. So both plasma and the amniotic fluid are yellowish in color and have light in them. They emit heat, both. One, like for example, in the case of the baby, to keep the temperature of the fetus in a correct, maintain the fetus in a correct temperature. And in the case of our blood plasma, the blood plasma is in charge of maintaining the inner temperature of our body, because we do have an inner temperature, okay? And they both emit heat. They are charged, okay? Both the amniotic fluid and the plasma of our blood plasma. And they are both yellow in color, and just like our Father, the Sun, that is yellow, and is the source of energy for our solar system, okay? So then again, another thing, right? In biology, also, the rounded cells, cells are rounded. They are not square or triangular. They are rounded, like the atoms, right? And the planets and everything. The rounded cells float in blood plasma. That is the source of energy life for the receptor cells. And fetus, as I said, also floats in fluid, in this amniotic fluid, which charges with life, okay? Fetus, and with nutrients and everything. As well as in the amniotic fluid, water is the main component of both plasma and the amniotic fluid, and the conductive medium it uses to ignite the cell. And as I always say here, water is the best conduit for electricity, okay? That is not a coincidence. We are electromagnetic people. We are charged, okay? And this is what gives us life. So, these ignited cells, together with its plasma or energy source, in the way of wave, wavelengths, right? Wavelengths again are filled with information of mathematical kind, okay? They circulate and orbit all throughout our body, charging and stimulating all of our endocrine system, which releases hormonal secretions that affect our motion and behavior. Because you know that our hormones do regulate all of our moods and our motion, our energy in our body, okay? So they will control, they do control our moods and our actions and our emotions, right? So another curious detail is that the Bible in Leviticus 17:11 does confirm and says that for the life of the flesh is in the blood. Yes, I did not know this. And also the Torah also says, and the scriptures of the Torah also specify the blood as the carrier of the soul. Okay? So, soul and consciousness belong, as I've always said here, to our energetic body, which is why we cannot see them, because they are of an electromagnetic nature. One being the electro and the other being the magnetic. Okay? So let's see which one is which. Okay? Consciousness belongs to the state of awareness. And awareness has to do with enlightenment. Energy and light, right? Knowing or intelligence by way of information, and has the effector energy that our body has already within its electric fields and that we don't have any control over, okay? It simply is. Every organ of your body knows when and what to do without having to command it. It is consciousness is the energy source, analogous to the sun. The sun above, again, above and below, and to the protons of the atom and its positive charge. It is pure charge. Consciousness is pure charge, masculine energy. It is light, again, enlightenment, light, awareness, being aware, having insight, okay? Knowing, having knowing. So, consciousness has to do with the positive charge, the electro. And then, soul, on the other hand, is the receptor nature of energy. It is our energy in motion, emotions, right? Our feelings and sensations. In our blood, our cells, and in atoms, the negative charge in its electrons. It is the feminine energy. These two, the electro and the magnetic, right? The soul and consciousness. These two work hand in hand. They are electromagnetic, so they attract one another to provide the body in its by way of its blood, because again, the cells are the soul, which are the receptor, and the plasma, the blood plasma, is the electron. So it carries, right, that formula, it carries that a formula, mathematical formula within it that is unique for each individual. Our blood is our blueprint. Okay, that formula that it has, that electromagnetical formula that it has, that is in our blood, is unique to us, and it is our blueprint. So sadly, since we are submerged in these electromagnetic fields of plasma, as above, so below, we are constantly exchanging these frequencies with everybody and everything there is. And our cells will suffer the onslaught of the outside environment as well as the inside environment through what we ingest, inhale, and come in contact with, and the chemicals and toxic charges that were not created for our cells and our plasma to process. Okay? Keeping our blood clean from all the toxic chemicals we ingest from food like preservatives, additives, hormones, fertilizers, right? Added sugars, etc. And maintaining a clean, healthy diet by fasting specifically, which I'm going to touch eventually here, okay? And exercising is the second best thing we can do for our body. As I always say, after cleaning the emotional waste and toxicity we also accumulate throughout a lifetime, as this will directly impact our consciousness and soul, the core of who we truly are, our energy, the one that prevails. Remember that energy cannot be destroyed. And this is the one reason I always am stressing and saying that life will always respond first to energetic triggers, not to biological ones, because this is the core of who we are. We are electromagnetic beings. Okay? Through our blood in biology. This is the way to clearly understand the entanglement of our blood, our soul, our consciousness, and the authentic nature of the divine material we are all made of. Electromagnetic waves and energy. Okay? So I hope this information truly explains and clarifies for you and why I say, and I discovered this magnificent information that has brought a lot of enlightenment to me. Okay? So love and light as always for you and for all your family, all your loved ones. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us in Facebook in our new Evo Life 360 page. And see you next week. Thank you for sharing this information so that many others can benefit from it. Okay, and if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me through my email, evolife360@gmail.com, or through my messenger, and I will be gladly answer your questions here. Okay, So sending you love and light. See you next week here in the Mingles of Evo Life. Thank you again. Bye-bye.